Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Idaho Trails Association Trailmaster presentation. Can I just get somebody in the chat to acknowledge that you all can hear me okay? All right, cool. Thank you so much. All right, so tonight our guest presenter will be Pamela DeMetro from Bod Squad. I'm excited to hear what she has to tell us about getting trail ready. But first of all, we're going to kick off with just a little bit of information about the Idaho Trails Association. And a couple of announcements. So if you haven't already heard, the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreations has started a brand new program this year called the Trail Supporter Program. And that rolled out just this last weekend during National Trails Day. And it is a voluntary donation-based initiative to secure much-needed funds for non-motorized trails. And to buy a sticker, you'll see there's a link there at the bottom. And I know that on their Facebook page and through some of the news outlets, there's also information about this program. And really, it's just to kind of help us take better care of our non-motorized trails. The price of the sticker is, the asking donation is $10. You can give as much as what you like. But the idea is year after year, you will buy a sticker and contribute to that program, and that funding will be dispersed to Parks and Recreation and probably also other groups, potentially somebody like the Idaho Trails Association, to help maintain more of our non-motorized trails on public lands. And if you happen to miss it or didn't know that it happened, if you're an Outdoor Idaho fan, they just did a program called Trailblazers that aired May 14th on Idaho Public Television, but you can still watch it online. And there's a link there. And again, if you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. This was a great program that just kind of highlighted some of the great work that nonprofit organizations, trail running groups, backcountry hunters and anglers groups, different groups that are out there helping caretake our trails. And we just wanted to let you know that we have created a new feature for our website called the Trail Reporter. And basically, this allows you to go in and report on the trails that you've been hiking. And this is really awesome information for us and information that we can pass along to our partners like the U.S. Forest Service about the condition of the trail. So you would be answering questions about, what trail you hiked, when you hiked it, if you saw any downed trees, if you came across any rock fall or washout, if there was any kind of snow. You can also attach some pictures. Pictures are really helpful so we can see if you come across some big barrier, what it is. And so, yeah, go check that out. And along with that is a public-facing companion map where you can go and actually look at the reports that have been submitted. And so you can get some information about if you're going to go out and want to hike on a trail, you can come here and see if there's been a report submitted and see what the conditions are like before you even get out there. So the goal is that we'll get everybody doing this so we all know what's happening on the ground. All right, and just to talk to you a little bit about non-motorized trail maintenance. So a handful of years ago, the University of Idaho put out a policy analyst group issue brief about non-motorized trail maintenance in the state of Idaho. There are a couple thousand miles of non-motorized trails in Idaho, and the big takeaway was basically without additional funding for maintenance, our non-motorized trail opportunities are likely to decline. And that's for a number of reasons. The Forest Service is getting less and less funding for recreation programs. Trail crew sizes are decreasing, but we are seeing a huge uptick in the amount of volunteer work that is being done by the Idaho Trails Association, Selway Bitter Frank Church, the Youth Conservation Corps, and groups of that nature helping augment some of those trail maintenance activities. So that is kind of the main goal of the Idaho Trails Association. And typically, I like to start off with a little video, but that doesn't always go over well during a live broadcast. So I'm just going to say, check us out on YouTube. You can find us there. If you subscribe, you'll know when new videos get added. All of the presentations that we do, the webinars, do get added to our YouTube videos. So if you find information helpful, you can pass it on to others or rewatch it. And you'll also find us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, so you can kind of keep up to date with what we have going on through those platforms. So just a little bit more about ITA. We were founded in 2010. This year is our 10-year anniversary. The goal was to have a giant party, but because of the current coronavirus situation, that hasn't happened just yet. But I hope that at some point this year, we will actually have a big party. And of course, you all are invited, member or not, come and check us out and see what it's all about. So over the last 10 years, you know, our driving goals have to do with stewardship, caretaking of the land. Again, we do this mostly through trail maintenance, and we've also started doing trail monitoring in a couple of the wilderness areas. We like to keep the tradition alive by passing on traditional trail maintenance tool skills. Like you can see here in the photo, these gals are using something called a crosscut saw. It is becoming more and more common for trail crews to be using chainsaws, but using a crosscut is a traditional skill. Education, putting out presentations and webinars like this to our community, and also preservation, again, just preserving the resources that we have and love, like our hiking trails. So as you can see, the amount of work that ITA has done over the decade has increased hugely, and I really do attribute a lot of that work to our current executive director, Jeff Halligan. He has done an amazing job gearing us up to do more and more work on the trail. And now we have 2 other full-time staff members who also are just keeping us growing every year and getting more and more projects. So what can you do to help? Obviously, we would love for everyone to become a member if you aren't already. And really that just means if you can contribute a donation of some kind, whatever amount you're comfortable with, that gets you in the door. And you'll get in our newsletter and see what's going on with us. You can sign up for a trail project. We have, I think, still 30-some projects on the schedule this summer. We have family-friendly trips, single-day or overnight trips, week-long vacations. This is usually trips where we have stock, pack in a lot of the supplies and the food, and you get fed the whole time. There's a camp cook. We have a women-only weekends program. About once a month, there's a weekend where we have just female identifying only individuals out on projects. We've started a youth program where we have week-longs somewhere in the backcountry with high school age kids from Idaho. You can sign up for a monitoring project. If you aren't into doing trail maintenance, but you love hiking, you will really like monitoring projects. This basically is a week in a wilderness area like the Gospel Hump or Hell's Canyon, collecting information about trail conditions and different use sites like camping areas, and that information is given back to the U.S. Forest Service. And then also just be an advocate for our public land resources. Pay attention to what's going on, make some phone calls or write some emails to your local government representatives, and just stay informed. And again, ITA's Facebook page, Instagram newsletter is a great way to keep up on those things. So just to give you an idea, we have projects over a wide part of the state, as always. Everything from the Panhandle and the Selkirks in North Idaho, the Salmon River Mountains around McCall, the Middle Fork of the Payette near Crouch, and we are in many of the wilderness areas every year. So please go out and take a look at our project list. They are starting to fill up fast, but see if you can sign up for a project. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Pamela. And yeah, Pamela has been a member with ITA for a while now. She has more acronyms behind her name that I can probably count. I think she knows her stuff. She is the founder and owner of Bod Squad here in Boise, Idaho. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, did that work? Did that work? Awesome. All right. Oh, I see there's a nice chat bubble at the bottom. Cool. Thanks so much, Pam, for sharing all of that. And gosh, there's so much that we can get involved in. I really do. I love the Idaho Trails Association. And if you haven't been out on a ITA trip, I really encourage you to get involved. It's such fun people. So we're going to have a good time tonight, too. Just talking about getting trail ready. So bear with me as I try to figure out how to share my screen. You're going to see my desktop, I think. And a couple clicks of the button. I can do this. Beautiful. And then start. Awesome. Does that work? All right.
Yep, you're on.
Beautiful. All right. So I really do. I love what I do with personal training and fitness training and loving the outdoors all combined. When I get out there on the trail, I'm thinking about what exercises I can do in the gym, what exercise I can do in the gym to make this better, or what muscles are at work right now. So I know that backpacking and hiking takes a lot. So let's get ready. I know y'all are on the edge of your seat. This is me and my husband, Walter, and this is when we went to Crew Leader College. I think we went in like 2016 and got crosscut saw certified, and we're in the sawtooth. It was so much fun, but man, it was a lot of work. And if you've ever hiked with Jeff Halligan, he's got some long legs. He can really hike. And let's see. So whenever we're thinking about what we want to do is, having motivation to work out. Sometimes getting ready for a hike is the best way to be motivated for a workout. So sometimes we think motivation is like what we feel like doing. I don't feel like working out, but our motivation is actually our why. So motivation is not a feeling. So why do you want to be in shape for your adventure? Well, it'll be more enjoyable whenever you go. It'll feel like less effort. There'll be less muscle soreness, and you can reduce your risk of injury. So, your feelings are constantly changing, but, I don't feel like working out, but your reason for working out never changes. You want to enjoy your outdoor adventure. So, the outdoors also comes with though it's lots of rewards, there's lots of challenges along the way. So when you see the steep trail ahead of you, you can face it confidently and embrace those challenges. Sometimes we've got, I did the wrong thing. Try that. There we go. Uneven terrain, which challenges our ankles and our lower and our balance, our steep hills and downgrades. I don't know if this little window with my picture in the video, I don't know if it blocks the words. So just holler at me if you can't see anything, okay? Let's see. River crossings, that's gonna dynamically challenge your balance. And so it's good in your training to add a couple of hopping exercises for that. High step ups and step downs, that's gonna challenge your balance again. And you want strength in your legs, in your hips. When we go maneuvering obstacles, that requires some degree of agility and balance. And then more dangers on the trail. We can climbing over the boulders, climbing over and under down trees, especially whenever you're on trail maintenance work. So that's gets to be challenging. Once we add a heavy backpack and gear, we start involving more core and spine. So we start putting stress on our shoulders and neck, hips and back. When we get our poles out or start using handholds to help climb up those steep grades, we start needing some upper body strength in our shoulders and our back, need some endurance. So of course, we're in the mountains, it's higher altitude. So can you imagine maybe your aerobic status is gonna be challenged a little bit? Yeah, or even outrunning the bear, right? The oldest hiker's joke in the book. But outrun the bear, or at least your friend, right? Even the bears know that joke. Oh, so when we've come to working out and getting ready for a trip, there's 3 components we want to focus on: our aerobic conditioning, our strength training, and our recovery. So, those are kind of blanket terms that no matter what you're training for, you're going to need to do aerobic conditioning, strength training, and recovery. So consider what we're facing here. What kind of hike are you going to go on? Are you going to go on a big backpacking trip, 3 days? Are you going to go for a week? Or are you going to go for a couple of hours hike, a day hike? So consider what you're doing. And if you're doing mountaineering, you better start training about 6 months in advance, right? So otherwise, you're going to be left with the dogs there. Those are my 2 dogs, Shadow and Happy, taking a nap on the trail. Oh, I can't wait to go hiking. Aerobic conditioning here. So whenever we come talking about aerobic conditioning, we want to be able to keep up with the activities that we want to do. And they say the best way to get in shape for the activity that you want to do is, well, actually do it. So go take a hike. Isn't that encouraging to know that you're probably already doing what you need to do? Now, some tips here, you might want to include some elevation gain. And like, well, how much? Well, where are you going to go hike? You want to start working towards building up to what you want to be hiking at. Increase your mileage about 10% every week. So that's a good rule of thumb. It's not like hard in stone, but that'll keep you from overtraining and from overdoing it. Now, here's a really good tip. Try not to increase your distance and your elevation at the same time. So like, okay, I'm going to add 10% mileage this week. Well, probably that's not the time to increase how high that you're climbing. Okay. All right. Then more on that. Now, once we get to the hike, consider this is your workout for the day is the hike. You're getting in shape for the hike. So there's your workout. And we always want to warm up before we work out. It helps protect our joints and warm up our muscles and get us ready for the activity that we're about to do. So best warm up is just walking around the parking lot for about 5 minutes. Now, maybe you've rode in the car for a little while and you get there and you need to limber up because it took you a while to get there. Some of our destinations are far away. Maybe you need to go and pay your fee so you can walk and get your envelope, but you start warming up the ankles and the lower legs and the hips start warming up and just kind of feel it around. Then you can doesn't matter what people think, you can just break out into some walking lunges. And then maybe some active hip openers, lifting those legs nice and high like you're stepping over a gate. And some spinal rotations, just getting limbered up, okay? Then get those ankles and feet really warmed up. If you're gonna have some tricky terrain, you wanna warm up your balance. So a balance clock with some leg reaches. And I can demonstrate that for you if you like. If not, there's always Google. Google is great for that. But you would simply do a one-legged balance and pretend you're standing on a clock. Start warming up those ankles and reaching out to the 12 o'clock and the 10 o'clock, the 9 o'clock, the 11, the 12. Maybe reach behind you, see what you get back there. I don't know my clock, obviously. I'm reaching across. So just doing a few of those, and I can already feel the heat in my lower legs and ankles. So that's a really great way to warm things up. Doing some light stretching for your hamstrings, your quads, your IT band. That's the back of your thighs, the front of your thighs, your outer thighs, your inner thighs, and especially your ankle, that heel cord, really low calf. So really stretch out those calf muscles before you get on the trail. You don't have to go into a whole, get on the floor or anything. You can do all these standing or using your car or a tree as a prop. let's see, interval training. That's another way to condition yourself aerobically. Whenever you give your heart and lungs a little bit more of a challenge with some intervals where you're working harder for a little bit of time and then backing off and resting. So that will help to increase your anaerobic capacity so that you will be able to outrun that bear. It will also help you with your endurance, I promise. So one of my favorites is doing a fartlek hike. And fartlek, it's such a fun name, but what it is, it's I think Swedish for speed play. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play. So you get out there on your hike and you're gonna play. You hike for about 30 minutes at a moderate pace. You start to get breathy, not too breathy. You still be able to have a conversation with your hiking buddy. And then you're gonna begin some random fast hiking, you know, about anywhere between 20 seconds to 2 minutes in length. And like, well, what does that look like? Well, little trial and error, you'll figure it out. How fast are you? Pick a landmark on the horizon, whether that be a tree, a rock, a bush, a mosquito pit, no, whatever you see ahead, and just begin to hike as fast as you can to that destination. And hopefully it takes you 20 seconds or up to 2 minutes to get there. Then you're gonna start to slow down your pace and recover. And if it took you 20 seconds to get to that log that you saw in the distance, well, then you're gonna wanna recover at least 20 seconds, maybe 40, depending on how intense that burst of speed was. So you be the judge on that. So you just wanna recover down to where you're like medium, you know, light to medium recovery. And then you're gonna repeat that 1 to 3 more times. So whatever you've got the energy for that day. So just making a little cycle. And then of course you've got to hike back. So you get to challenge your endurance a little bit more to get back to where you started. Okay, so that's fun. That's called fartlek hike. It's called speed play, and it's a lot of fun. You want to try this on gradual slopes first, and then try it on steeper trail sections. But like, always be careful. Always be careful. Use your best judgment. Avoid slippery areas, or someplace with like the terrain is just so uneven, because you don't want to get injured. You want to be safe in your training so we want to enjoy our hike. We don't want to get hurt. So avoid injuries. So don't do that on the downhill sections. Don't do the speed play on the downhill sections. You can walk downhill, but you don't want to be speeding, okay? All right, way to take care of yourself, guys. All right, next one. Oh, I see, comments. Okay, I just noticed that comments come up. I can look at them sometimes. Okay, aerobic conditioning in the city, because we can't always get out on a hike. Sometimes we only have lunch breaks. So choose activities that mimic hiking, like walking and running and trail running in our foothills here in Boise. Climb the stairs, stair mills, step aerobics. Climbing the stairs is one of the best cross trainings you can, kind of similar cross training that you can do to get in shape for hiking. Try them 2 at a time, 3 at a time, maybe go up sideways. Of course, coming down. So there's all sorts of different diagonals up and down, like switchbacks. So have fun with that. I love stairs, one of my favorite workouts. Treadmill, elliptical, side bike, anything that really uses your lower limbs, okay? Because we know hiking is a lot about the lower body. And yes, even backpacking, you can do your, I forgot to mention, on your trail, get out and hike part, go ahead and start loading your backpack up a little bit and take your backpack out there if backpacking is your adventure, okay? So that you can be used to the way it wears, how it feels, and start training those posture and core muscles. So some guidelines for aerobic conditioning. These are some you can put into practice right away. Doing 5 to 6 sessions a week, usually about 30 minutes a session. You can go longer for sure, okay? But aim for at least 1 long hike each week. So, and remember, we're gonna increase our distance by 10%. or we're going to increase our elevation little by little, getting ready for the big hike and hiking season. Perform interval training. If you're going to do one of those fartleks or another kind of interval training, make sure that you do that on non-consecutive days. You definitely need to rest and so that you can get stronger. You don't want to overtrain. Mix up those activities so that you prevent boredom and also prevent overuse injuries. If you do the same thing all the time, probably gonna get hurt. Seen it so many times. Okay, strength training. Okay, component number 2. Now, you know, as hikers and backpackers, you're probably gonna want to train differently than, say, someone who's training for a bodybuilding competition or somebody who's training for football. So consider what you're training for. We're gonna really want to focus building strength in your legs, in your hips, and your core muscles, because we've got a lot of climbing up and down to do. We want to build endurance in those legs and the core, shoulders, and especially lower back muscles, because we're going to be upright, we're going to be carrying packs, we're going to be climbing, and we're going to be doing that for a long time, not just 30 minutes. We're going to be out there all day or days. Improve your balance and agility. So that's something we really want to be focusing on and learning, getting better at, because you know those trails can be tricky. Some of the obstacles that we face out there, the steep uphill and those obstacles, like this girl here at the jumping on rocks and having a good time there, to see the sights. Well, here's some exercises to do to train for that. Some big step-ups on a box, 8 or 24 inches tall. So, and you know, just gauge, start small and earn your progression and work your way up. Side step-ups on the box. That means you're gonna step up sideways. Step down from a box. You can step down front ways too. I know I just wrote side, but you can step down front ways and you can step down from the side. So balance clock reaches. Oh, there's, I can't see any messages. I'll have to catch up with you guys later. Okay, balance clock reaches, I showed you those. And then like balanced overhead side benders, I'll show you one. I'll just show you one. So you would get your, you can get a dumbbell or a medicine ball. I know we don't have a gym right now, right? So we're going to take that weight overhead and do a little balance and moving side to side. And that, notice how much spine is involved in that fun balance. So, let's see what else we got here. Oh, endurance exercise. Who looks at those hills and thinks, oh, we got to go down for a long time. Whatever goes up must come down. So heading down the hill, and if you've got that pain behind the knee, that's a really common, that's a common for a lot of hikers. And what happens is that our quadriceps, the muscles in the front of our thighs, are naturally more strong. There's more muscle there than the muscles that are in the back of our legs, our hamstrings. So what we need is to strengthen the back of the thighs, because those hamstrings, really, they support us as we go downhill. And also when we're backpacking, that heavy pack is a lot supported by our backside, by our hamstrings. So what can we do for this downhill hiking? Well, we want to build those muscles to be strong for a long time. That's what endurance means, that they're strong for a long time. You can sit at the wall 3 to 5 minutes. That's when you put your back to the wall and just sit there 3 to 5 minutes. Or do some really slow squats. Can you make a squat last for 10 seconds? A 10-second squat, 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up. So that, and do that, those will burn. Arms overhead squat, that will help your posture, because you don't want to going downhill, you don't want to curl over, or our backpack's getting heavy. So we want to strengthen those muscles in our back. So a good tip would be to get like a strap or something. And then you can take that strap overhead with those arms straight, and then aiming for that chair. Keep those arms up, and then coming up nice and tall. And if you want to go lower than your chair, you certainly can. Absolutely. But that's a really nice one to strengthen the core and posture muscles. All right, and then leg curls on the stability ball. That's a fun one. Connected step downs on stairs or bleachers. I told you I love the stairs. So think of connected step downs as you're going one foot and then the other and then the other. Then and you're going all the way down the stairs. To work up your strength and your endurance even by skipping a stair. So you're skipping over 2 stairs. So going down. Now don't fall, don't roll down, but that will definitely train some legs for downhill hiking. So some practical guidelines that you can put into practice for your strength training right away is build strength. And usually a good strength phase will last you about 4 weeks. And that's, it'll be about 6 to 12 repetitions, and you'll do 3 to 6 sets of an exercise that will fatigue your muscles or pert near, really close. You don't think you could do another repetition with really good form. Build endurance, that's another phase, and you can do that. That's another about 4 weeks phase, and that's 15 to 20 repetitions, and you'll do 2 to 3 sets. So those are some pretty good volume of training. And then there's 2 to 3 sessions per week, and you're like, okay, well, what if I've got a trip coming up in a month? Well, you can do it. You can get backpack ready in a month, in 4 weeks. And there is a way you can incorporate doing both strength and endurance together. It's strength endurance training. So you can do it. It's possible. But if you have the time, why not take the time and do that? And you can be feeling really strong. Okay. Recovery. That's our third anchor point. Love recovery. That's my favorite. Rest days. And if you think rest days looks like that, you're wrong. We've had enough of that with quarantine. So, and you know how you feel whenever you sit around doing nothing. You feel like, oh, I gotta move, I ache. So rest days are a good way to work out those stiff muscles and your muscle soreness. And how do you do that? Well, choose any easy 20 or 30 minutes kind of light, easy movement, okay? So you might want to just take an easy hike or a bike ride, take a leisurely walk around your neighborhood. You know the dogs love doing that. You can stop and sniff. It's great. Do some light yoga or a stretching session, you know, paying attention. You know where your body is its most vulnerable. You know your body. Where are you the most tight? Where are you the workouts this week? And just give a little bit of TLC. So those rest days are so important for recovery. If you don't recover, and I know you're like, well, we were just sitting watching Netflix for the last 2 months. I need to get in shape quick, so I don't have time for rest days. Well, rethink, because you do want to stay safe, right? No injuries. Foam rolling, that's a wonderful technique to kind of release the muscle spindles, any tight muscles, any knots. Great for injury prevention, and that's foam rolling. Forgot to show you the picture. And loosen up knots in those muscles, speeds your recovery time. And hikers tend to get a lot of hot spots, I call them, in the hamstrings, the back of the thighs, the quads, that's the front of the thighs, the calves, and getting, you know, that's the lower legs, the glutes, that's your derriere in the sides of your hips, and the hip flexors, that's in the front of your hips, your upper back. Get from that pack in our lats. It's kind of like through our armpits area. Think about trying to put that pack on. Shoulders are so tight. You want that mobility. Nutrition, that's another component of helping our bodies heal and recover. And good nutrition looks like lots of colors and fruits and vegetables and lean proteins and Oh, I love it. Lots of colors. But you cannot out-hike a poor diet. You can outrun the bear and you can outrun your friend, but you cannot out-hike a poor diet. So if you feel like you're struggling in your workouts or getting ahead, then take a look at your diet. Make sure you've got plenty of colorful plants for antioxidants. It helps your immune system. And when we're hiking, our immune system, I mean, it's taken a hit. We're a little bit of a hit. We got to repair and recover it. So use those plant foods. Lots of lean proteins for muscle repair and rebuilding. And lean protein doesn't always have to come from meat. So start thinking lentils, legumes, tofu. Dairy is a good protein. So, you don't always have to go for meat because who wants to eat a steak every day? Not me. Maybe you do. Quality carbohydrates with phytonutrients to help speed recovery, and they spare protein. So if you're not getting enough protein, okay, or if you're not getting the right kind of quality carbohydrates, then your body is going to leach all the proteins that from your system, from the nutrition that you're putting into your body. So make sure you're getting quality carbohydrates, and that's ones with fiber and lots of antioxidants and color. So legumes, lentils, sweet potatoes, vegetables, fruits, great way to do that. And healthy fats and EFAs for nutrient absorption. So if you want all those phytonutrients, those plant chemicals to get into your bloodstream, make sure you get some good healthy fats. There's essential fatty acids that we can't that our body can't manufacture, and we need to get them from certain sources like olive oils and from fish and from nuts and seeds. So make sure you're getting some of those healthy fats. Recovery, practical guidelines. How do I use this? Take at least one rest day per week. And remember, that's not Netflix binging. After you get your walk in and you stretch a little bit, then go ahead and enjoy. If you're over 55, or if you just feel like you need to, go ahead and take an extra rest day. But we don't want to get them back to back. We want to spread those out. So maybe you want to work out for 3 days, take a day off, 3 days, take a day off, or 2 day off, 3 day off, up to you. And what works in your schedule. We have to be realistic about it. We do have lives. Stretch after your workouts and your hikes. That's a great way to sneak recovery in all through the week. So at the end of your workout and your hike, and especially, after, like, let's say that fartlek hike, when we were doing the speed play and running fast between different landmarks, make sure that you have a nice cool down after that, or any of your hikes. Just kind of mosey, walk around the parking lot, or slow your pace at the end of your hike for a warm down. We always warm up, but sometimes we forget to warm down, and that can cause problems in the long term. Okay, sleep, very important. Human growth hormone, that's what helps our bodies repair, and that only happens when we sleep. It cannot happen when we're awake. So get some sleep. And maybe on those harder training days, you get more sleep. Listen to your body. Eat 7 to 13 servings of veggies and fruits every day for your best nutritional status. Okay, and healing and repair. And that's the end of that. Okay, so thank you so much. So I guess we can have some time for questions.
Cool, thanks, Pamela. So yeah, I see we have one question here. Jeremy asks, will you be presenting information on beginning trails to use? Jeremy, where do you live?
I live in, where does Jeremy live? I don't know. I don't know, because I live here in Boise.
Yeah, if Jeremy's still on, if you let us know where you live, we might be able to tell you some ones that are near you, potentially.
So, but yeah, I don't have beginning hikes. I think I love, we have so many good hiking books for around here, and Ridges to Rivers has a lot of good hiking trail information and hikes to go on. Scott Marchant writes some really good books all over Idaho, and he labels them by easy to more difficult with the distance and elevation gain. So you can gauge like how far I want to go and how much elevation I want to do. Pam, you got some input on that one?
Yeah, so talking about the elevation gain stuff. So if you live in the Boise area, many of you know about the Ridge to River trails. They're very accessible. They do have an online interactive mappy thing, and they just added a new functionality where if you click on a trail, you can see the elevation profile.
Ooh.
So if you have specific goals for like how much elevation you want to gain, that's a really handy tool if you're in the Boise area. Yeah, there are so many, awesome trail resources out there. And yeah, like you said, Pamela, like most of the guidebooks do rate them on their difficulty. And even things like All Trails or the Hiking Project, like there's all kinds of resources online. But Jeremy, if he had popped off, maybe he can comment again later. But so I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I am learning as I get older that even more important than strength for me is that mobility piece, flexibility, balance. And so I was curious if you personally have a kind of like daily mobility routine, or you have a routine that you recommend for your clients that you could kind of give us a little taster of.
You know, Pam, you're so right. But I cannot believe that you are getting older.
Yeah, I'm nearing that 40 mark.
All right. Does that show a bigger picture of me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. All right. So I'm going to do this. And okay. So I like to work mobility into the workout, okay? A lot of times it's like one of the first exercises we do, part of the warm-up. And for instance, when we were warming up at the trailhead, we took our walk and then we did some walking lunges, and that is a mobility exercise. But if you want some specific, really good ones for hiking, we want to think about getting that pack on, right? And our shoulders. So we know we want to get those shoulders back. So taking maybe just doing some big arm circles all the way around, keeping those arms straight, okay? Or you can get a PVC pipe and taking, doing some, open up those shoulders back there. Oh, that feels so good. I've been sitting at the computer today. Woo! And I popped my PVC, my little broomstick off. Or a big strap, or just arm motions. Getting onto your all fours, your hands and knees, if you can, and doing a thoracic rotation. And this will help to mobilize that upper back and squeeze. And I can do a little hiker's mobility video and put it up on my website for you guys. If you like that, I could do that.
That would be an awesome perk.
Yeah, so that's a fun one. That's just the upper body. If you want your hips, lunge series, going to the front, to the side. This really opens up those hips, right? And then stepping back, reaching up, and that will stretch out those hips. Maybe you want to reach to the side. Lots of good stretching there.
Cool. Let's see. Do we have any other chat? Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, so what are your thoughts on, I didn't know there was a term for this until I ran into somebody on the trail when I was doing it. Do you know what rucking is?
What?
Rucking.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
No. So basically it's hiking with a weighted pack for training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would do this when I was training to do multi-week hikes, because it's very difficult to kind of have that feeling unless you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know until I ran into somebody on the trail here in the Ridge to Rivers that there's a technical term for that, rucking.
I
And
didn't
there's like
realize
groups,
that's what it was
there's
called.
groups,
That's great.
there's gear for it. I would just have an old backpack that I would stuff pillows and like water and like sacks of flour in and just carry it around with me when I was hiking. But there's like specific backpacks with like special weights, and I don't know. I mean, you could totally get all fancy about it, but I found that this is a really great way to kind of boost that endurance and get your body feeling ready for that pack, especially on those bigger trips, when you don't have that much time. Because I could just go out for like an hour or two after work, or go on a huge day hike on a weekend with a weighted pack, and it really helps you simulate that feel. And it's also a really good reminder that you don't want your pack to be heavy, so keep the pack weight down.
Absolutely. So whenever you're doing like your squats and remember I was talking about those slow squats for going down the hill to train for downhill, but practice doing your squats with your backpack, practice doing some lunges and some get-ups with your backpack on your back. Make sure you properly load it, start with the heavy stuff at the bottom. Improperly loaded backpack's going to throw your posture off.
Right.
So
that's a huge piece. If people don't know about proper backpack packing, please email us, because that is so important, because it'll change your game when your backpack is loaded and adjusted properly. And also, if you go to your local sporting goods store, REI, whatever, those folks are also super knowledgeable about that, but it's worth the time to adjust your pack and make sure that your pack weight is distributed properly. It'll make a huge difference in how that feels and how it sits on your body, how it pulls on your body.
Yeah. So you should be feeling tired, but good at the end of the day. You shouldn't be having backache, neck ache, shoulder pain. If so, get some things adjusted. Make sure you're doing your core exercises, right?
Right. Yeah. So is there anything else you do? So it's just, we're thinking about like getting trail ready. Do you have any other like rituals you do before you're getting ready to go for a hike or a weekend backpack or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't think I have any real rituals. I mean, get everything packed up and no. I mean, I like to take good care of myself before. That's not the weekend to go out dancing and partying before you head out. I mean, no, remember the recovery. And, yes, because you want to be feeling really good whenever you go.
Right. Yeah. I know that, kind of in the off season, I do strength training 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but during the hiking season, I do strength training 2 days a week, and Fridays, I either don't exercise or I do like a yoga / mobility something, because if you stack up the strength on, say, a Friday, and then that Saturday you want to start doing a big hike, you are in for a world of hurt.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. And, as you're saying that, and when we're building up that good endurance, and the closer you get to hiking season, and the closer you get to that season, that's a great time to scale that down like you do, Pam, to 2 days a week. And then the other days you are just hiking and stretching and taking good care of yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if I'm doing a huge, like, multi-week type hike, I'll take a whole week off before I head out and just be like completely recovered, just like doing some light walking. So I feel like 100% for when I get on the trail, just totally recovered.
Yep. Spot on. Exactly. Good job. Just like when you're training for a race, a marathon or something, you taper, you do. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's see. Do we have any more questions here? Awesome. All right. Any final words of wisdom?
I don't think so.
No?
Get out, hike. Join up with ITA and some really fun people if you're not already part. of our group and meet us. Thank you for being with us tonight. And Pam, thanks for putting all this together.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for being a part of our ITA family and coming out and presenting with us tonight. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon or see you out on the trail.
All right.
And with that, we'll say good night to everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
See ya.